Hey, what? Donald Trump? Our next guest, Rick Klein, ABC News political director. Good morning, Rick Klein.
Hey, great to be with you.
You are getting a lot of credit all around the world for the greatest line when it comes to Donald Trump's immigration policy. You say, Rick Klein, that he took his immigration policy and shot it on Fifth Avenue.
Thank you for the credit on that. You know, I thought about whether that was an appropriate line, but I realized that's the candidate's own words. No, he did. I mean, he's killed it, and now he's reviving it, resuscitating it. But there's a couple of different beasts that are coming together. They're like Frankenstein monsters of policy right now. He contradicts himself sometimes in the same interview, and I think it's clear even from his friends and allies that he's going to have to clarify what this means, because you're starting to see some of his allies like Ann Coulter, like Sarah Palin say, wait a second, this isn't exactly what we signed up for.
Well, Ann Coulter writes a book, In Trump We Trust, and says the only thing he can't backtrack on is immigration, and the day the book comes out, he backtracks on immigration.
Yeah, and I interviewed her yesterday about it, and she said, fire the moron who gave him this new line. But she said, she still believes that his policy, whatever he's saying about his tone, that his policy remains what it was. We'll see. We don't know what his policy is, which is itself an extraordinary thing. Just to take a step back, 70-some-odd days before the election, this isn't like some fringe small issue that just emerged. We're talking about immigration for decades in this country. The idea that a major presidential nominee doesn't have an immigration policy, he does not have a plan right now, is stunning.
Yeah, Sarah Palin has come out and sort of gave, I don't know what you'd call it, but some sort of like, we're watching you, Donald, to see what happens. But what about the rank and file supporters? Do we see any erosion of that support after he's now said what he said?
Well, I'm not clear on that at all, and that's where the shooting on Fifth Avenue analogy comes in. Trump famously said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and no one would care. And maybe if contradicting his own policy doesn't change things. We've been talking to voters at rallies. My colleague John Carl's been out this week talking to people specifically with that in mind. Hey, look at what your guy's saying about immigration. Are you okay with that? They'll either say, oh, the media's getting it wrong, or it doesn't matter. They're not voting on policy. They're not supporting him on policy. So it's when it comes up, you just find this over and over again. This is not what drives his supporters.
The other thing you're hearing some conservatives, and I'm talking about conservatives now, not liberals, but Mark Sanford as well as others are coming out and saying, hey, Donald Trump, we support you. Now release your tax returns.
Yeah, and I think that's, sometimes that becomes just kind of cover for other people to criticize that, we need more disclosure, we need more accountability, that sort of thing. Other times, I think it's a real concern, and now we're beyond the point of Republicans being able to do anything about it. They don't know what's in the taxes. They don't know what it'll show. So careful what you wish for here. Clearly now, Trump's not going to release the taxes. Short of this audit getting wrapped up very, very quickly, no signs of that. He has looked for ways not to do it. His son was just saying, I don't think it should be done. So I'm not expecting in any way that we see tax returns from Donald Trump at any point before this election, anytime, even during a Trump presidency. He's going to find ways not to do it. You'd presume that it's because there's embarrassing things in there. We'll never know what exactly is in there, but you're right. There's even some allies that really want to see it.
Donald Trump said he was going to have an immigration speech. That was canceled. Is it back up on, and when is he going to make a big immigration speech to finally clarify where he is on all this?
Well, they're saying next week, but it isn't scheduled. It isn't done. It isn't figured out quite yet. We'll see. I mean, he needs a policy first. Right now, he doesn't have one, and so I think they're probably smart to cancel it as long as they're waiting on that. So I don't know where that squares. I mean, we expected to hear it already, but he does need to actually have a physical policy before he can go and talk about it on television.
Rick Klein, ABC News political director, thanks for spending time with us. Have a good week.
Hey, thank you.
You got it. 6:56. Big